Okay. Ready when you are, sir.
Okay, and we should be going. I don't know if you see me yet or not. Let me come over here and take a look
wait,
on
that's not it.
Facebook.
It's not on YouTube yet. Oh, yes, it is. There we go.
Yep. Okay, we're there. And let me do a quick test comment. There it is. Okay, very good. All right, so, and you got the show notes, right?
Got the show notes.
So what we're going to do is I'm going to bring up the title screen. When the title screen comes off, you just say the GMen Show 44 Lease to Grown.
Okay.
And I need to solo you. There you are. Okay. And then after that, I'll hit the theme song, and when I come out of that, I'll be live. Okay, you ready?
Ready. The GMen Show 44.
Oh, no, not yet.
Oh,
wait till the title screen isn't there.
You said when it came up.
Oh, no, I meant when it goes off.
Oh, when it goes off. Okay, sorry about it.
Okay, you ready?
Ready. The GMen Show 44, Lease to Grown.
Yeah, it's the GMen Show. Talking fruit, tech, and ego. Hot takes, cold coffee, still hitting every keynote. They roast your phone. No. They roast each other. Tips, rants, one after another. Is that a feature or just a bug? Either way, it gets a shrug. GMen Show, turn it up. Let the fanboys know. Questions, rants, or a nerdy confession. Call in now. Join the obsession. 703-828-46777. 703-828-46777. Yeah!
And welcome everyone to the GMen Show. I'm Guy, and he's Chuck. That was
I'm Chuck.
He's over there. He's Chuckster. Now, Apple's price increases are going to hit you hard the next time you want to upgrade. The current way is to go through your Apple wallet with terms spread out 12 plus months at 0% interest. If you believe rumors, there's a lease program about to start that could significantly lower how much you pay, except you don't actually own the machine. So yeah, there's that. Hello, Chuck. How are you, sir?
I'm good, Guy. Thanks for having me. This is always interesting to do this show.
Well, yeah, that's one way to put it. Interesting.
Yeah, mainly because of the host.
Yeah. And Gaz, I mean, I'm doing this show with Gaz since like 2010, in various formats, and each time it's completely different. And yeah, I'm absolutely to blame. I take all the blame for everything that goes wrong on this show. So what are you up to there, Mr. Joyner?
Just trying to keep all the balls in the air, Guy. There seem to be a lot of them, and they're all breakable for some reason. So I don't have the option to let one bounce once in a while.
Breakable. Uh-oh. I just messed up my camera. That's okay.
It was an earthquake.
Yeah, here in Northern Virginia. That actually happened once. I was at lunch. Complete tangent, big surprise. I was at lunch and I was in a parking garage. And so I'm sitting there eating Taco Bell or whatever. And there's this loud rumble. And because I'm on a parking deck, I'm thinking a truck or something is passing by me. But then I look out because I was like right at the edge of it, and there are trees swaying back and forth. And it was like, oh crap, what am I doing here? Because I'm in a parking deck that was not designed to withstand an earthquake. So, yeah, I decided I was going to eat my lunch elsewhere and went ahead and, started the car up and backed out of that spot and headed for the exit as quickly as I could. And there were two people that were standing by the exit outside of the parking deck, but they just had these looks of sheer terror on their face, like they had no idea what was going on. And the only thing I could think of was join the club. Yeah, I had no idea what was going on either.
Yeah,
Um,
that I had the same. I had a similar experience. At the time I was about probably 2.5 hours north of you, so
yeah.
we didn't feel it as strongly. But I was in the office with some coworkers,
Hmm.
and it happened, and nobody knew exactly what happened. We all looked at each other. It's like, is that what we think it was?
Yeah. Yeah.
And yeah, a very very strange experience.
And if you lived in like California or Japan or something like that, they'd be like, "Oh, it's Tuesday," that kind of thing.
Yeah,
But when you live in Northern Virginia or Pennsylvania, and you experience, because I think it ended up being like a 4.5 to 5 on the Richter scale, something like that. I mean, it was all things considered, it was a very strong quake, and because people in this area, unless they lived in California, have never experienced anything like that. Most people were just like, clueless. They had no idea what was going on. It's like tourists going to Florida and experiencing a hurricane for the first time.
yeah,
It's not what you think it's going to be.
yeah.
And I do not
Yeah.
recommend anyone go to Florida and experience a hurricane. That is not a fun time. Not at all. Well, I'm trying out some new headphones. They're quite fashionable, as you can
Ah,
see. They're
okay.
I had Marty on, and he was saying that they're bone induction, and I don't know if that's true or how that really works. But I got them because anyone who's been listening to the show for a while, or even when I was on In Touch with iOS and Mac Voices, which you host on Tuesday nights at 8 p.m., when I can manage to get it through my brain that that's coming up and manage to get onto the show in time. That's a whole thing right there. Anytime I got close to the microphone here, it was like serious feedback, and it was just like, "Oh," and anyone who's heard feedback, just imagine how much worse it is if they're coming through the headphones that you have currently plugged into your ear. So, that's not a good thing. But speaking of audio gear, Chuck, I am still loving my Heil PR35 microphone. This is it. This is it right here. It's gorgeous. And I know this is going to come as a shock. I have not used a different microphone for this show in over a year. Think about that. That's like bordering on insanity. We're going to slip right over, and I've got some sounds for it. Or wait, no, I don't. I thought maybe I had well, I do have a theme song, but I don't have a video that goes with it. So we're just going to have to deal with the theme song.
Gazette snippets, headlines fly, we just clip it. Bite-sized buzz, you won't miss it. Hey, tapping quick, Gazette snippets blinking, you get the gist of it.
All right, over to Gaza snippets, and these are little snippets of news that we're going to discuss after I talk about the story. And the first one, in the swimming with iPads department, according to Mark GMen, Apple is going to release a water-resistant iPad mini for people who can't put their devices long enough or put them down long enough to bathe or take a swim. It will have vibration-based speakers, eliminating the need for holes for those more traditional speakers. As e-readers, like some Kindles, are rated to survive being dropped into water, this is something that iPads could never do. Marky says it will be released in October in most retailers and an undisclosed market in Atlantis. Now, Chuck, have you heard anything about this? And I mean, does having an iPad that you could use in the bathtub something that you have always longed for?
I have not heard about this. I think it's an interesting idea. I am someone who, and I've made no secret of this. I have a TV in the bathroom so that I
I
can
hope it's
watch
not
the
a
morning.
tube TV.
No, no, but so you can watch the morning news, while getting a shower. But uh, would an iPad in the shower work? Okay. I mean, I guess you got to figure out a way to mount it somewhere. I honestly, guy, the I think the more realistic use case for most people might be people that are around the water. That I'm not. I'm having a hard time seeing anybody actually trying to look underwater at their iPad. But it
Yes.
would not surprise me at all to find people floating around a pool or floating around the ocean or something, and they want to have some video or something to entertain them. Because I mean, how entertaining is it to float around a pool? So that seems like an awfully niche market, but
Yeah. And
you
a
know,
lot of money to spend on something that is such a small market. Um,
Well, I want to know more about these. I want to make sure I get it right. The vibration based speakers. So, okay, if those are going to sound better underwater or in a watery environment, how good are they going to sound like sitting here on my desk if I want to watch a video on the desk?
oh, you know what? I didn't put enough information. Oh, maybe I did, or maybe I didn't say it as I was going through the story. It's more to get rid of the holes that they use
Right,
for traditional speakers as
right.
compared to, listening to an iPad underwater, which, if you could do that, it's like, oh, wow, okay, I can listen
Yeah,
to my iPad underwater. How long can I hold my breath? One of
yeah.
those kinds of things.
Good point. Yeah, but just like the headphones you're using now, the question becomes, what's the quality? Is there a quality sacrifice with these vibration based speakers? Um,
I have I have no idea. Now I remember, God, this was so many years ago. There were these speakers, and I only saw them once or twice because they were like really super high end. And I think they were kind of like, and this is a way back machine moment, kind of like the 20th anniversary Mac. It was more for aesthetics than for the kind of experience that you were going to get with something like this. It was these speakers that kind of looked like styrofoam, and there were two little ports on it, and you would connect your positive and your return for speakers to those, and they would play sound. I don't know if you ever saw anything like that.
not nothing I can recall that looks like that, but there were devices. Maybe they're still out there, because I know I was given one at a Macworld. They were a small device, like a puck size kind of
Mm-hmm.
thing. You put them on any surface, and it turned that surface into a speaker.
Oh yeah, yeah, I
You,
remember that.
you remember that?
I
And
do.
honestly, I mean, look, the fidelity. All right, no, it's not. It's not going to match much of anything, but it was more than listenable. It actually worked.
Yeah,
And I
and
think, but again, I think the fidelity and the cost was to the point that people wouldn't buy them. But
somewhat
I,
prohibitive.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So, I don't know. I mean, again, I I have a hard time visualizing Apple releasing anything that was really substandard. A compromise, yes, for the function, sure, but
Was
really
it? I
something
don't think it
terrible.
was released by Apple. I think it was like
No, no,
some
no. I'm talking
third
about
part.
this iPad.
Oh, oh,
I'm
oh,
talking,
oh.
yeah,
Okay,
the
okay.
proposed, yeah. The other, honestly, I'm sorry to whoever gave me those things, and I hope you're still in business, but they just never really, you know, I could not find a use case for them. They worked, I just couldn't find a use case for them.
Yeah, especially when there's so many better options. I mean, because typically when you're using something like that, you're stationary.
Yeah,
So what would be the point? You can just get, like, I've got these 8-inch studio monitors, and they sound great. And why would I give those up for something that didn't?
right.
Um, Moving on to the next story. I'm way too stupid to be allowed to keep Bitcoin department. Apple has a new lawsuit filed against it by a few Bitcoin miners who claim they lost all of their mined goods when placed into a fake Bitcoin wallet app designed to look like Sparrow, which is an actual Bitcoin wallet app available in Windows, Mac OS, and Linux. They claim a combined $1.8 million was lost. Apparently, Bitcoin miners are smart enough to collect them, but aren't smart enough to look closely at apps they trust to put $1.8 million into. They insist that Apple claiming apps are safe through the App Store for years means Apple needs to reimburse them for their losses. Yeah. What do you think about that, Chuck?
There's no off switch on stupid. This is somebody that didn't take responsibility for themselves. And to your point, it's like, okay, I'm not familiar with Sparrow, the legitimate wallet, but I would think, as you said, you're going to put money in. As soon as you get more than about $100, you might want to do a little research. When you start adding commas and zeros, you want to do a lot of research.
You want to do a lot of research, yes.
And so no, I'm sorry, no sympathy here. We just talked about this last week, that right now the number of apps being submitted to Apple is up to 600,000. And it just,
what's the time frame? Is that like
I believe annually, yeah.
Oh, annually. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so, I'm sorry, it's just not realistic for anyone. Yes, they're going to pass muster to some degree, and there are certain basic things they're all going to do. But especially when it comes to money and passwords, you better be darn sure what you're buying and double, triple, quadruple check it. Yeah. So, no, sorry, I can't. I have no sympathy for these people, and I hope the lawsuit gets dismissed out of hand.
Well, if they probably have more than that lying around, but yeah, chances are there's lawyers out there that are like, well, if Apple will eventually give some money to just make them go away, kind of thing, which is what I think most of these frivolous lawsuits are based on, and out of East Texas. It doesn't seem like for a while there, every single one of these lawsuits was being filed out of East Texas.
And that makes me question the scales of justice and in this jurisdiction in East Texas.
Yeah.
Look, we all know that plaintiffs' attorneys shop for the venues, or the jurisdictions, I should say, that are favorable to what they're trying to accomplish. But when you start seeing this many, like on a heat map, and that area is just glowing, white hot, it's like there's something going on here.
Yeah,
and
there's something wrong here.
Yeah.
In the Apple Music increases by $1, emo kids everywhere cry out and are suddenly silenced department. Apple Music now costs $1 more, not only on its own, but across most subscriptions available. The price went from $11 to $12, seemed to be reflective of cost increases and higher licensing terms by music publishers. Similar price increases went out around the world, though some were higher due to currency fluctuations.
Apple has not increased their music prices in over 4 years.
Yeah.
Isn't it kind of about time? And oh, by the way, aren't these some of the same people that are screaming all the time that the artists deserve to be paid more? The artists deserve to be paid more, but apparently not by them. Apparently only by Apple.
Yes, or Spotify, or whatever. All of these different streaming services are. And that's not saying that I'm a huge Spotify fan. Other than hosting this podcast, I don't have a Spotify account, which I probably shouldn't say out loud, but it's too late because I already said it. In the last story in the snippets department that I have, when I think about you, I touch my screen department, more GMen and Ming-Chi Kuo shenanigans. It is claimed that Apple is redesigning for the first time since 2021 their MacBook Pros to include M5 Pro and Max, which expected. The notch disappearing, replaced by hole punch camera and dynamic island. Sure, whatever. Thinner design, Oh, smaller bezels, more yawn, potentially built-in cellular, yes please, an OLED display, okay, and touch optimized OS and touchscreen. Wait, what? The debate about making the Mac OS touch enabled has been talked about for some time. Biggest issues are there's no touch enabled apps. And what about every other Mac laptop and desktop that is not touch enabled? What do you think, Chuck?
Oh boy, where to start? Um,
Yeah.
the M5 Pro, M5 Max, there have also been rumors out there about, and I'm not a rumor fan, but there are rumors out there about them skipping the M5 and M6, or M5 and Pro and Max and jumping straight to the M6. It's going to be what it is. I just want to go down these each one. Uh, Whole punch camera, dynamic island, yeah, fine. The notch doesn't bother me like it seems to bother some people.
A lot of people.
Thinner design, yeah, looks thinner is always more desirable if it's structurally sound, but and not at the compromise of either power or battery life. Smaller bezels, yeah, okay, again, fine.
Yeah.
Potentially built-in cellular is really interesting because you can get built-in cellular in your iPad, and in fact, and also in your iPhone.
Right.
It's not been my choice because the carriers charge you for a completely separate number and a full price for that number. Not a scaled down, not an, oh, if you want to add an iPad, great. Here you'll pay an extra few bucks a month.
Actually, if I could interrupt for just a second, I am
Please.
grandfathered in to an AT&T plan with unlimited data that I have had for probably 12 years or more.
Okay.
$23 a month.
But is that for your phone?
No, that's for my iPad.
Oh. Wow, that is an old plan.
Yeah, I do not let that expire because once it's gone, I'll never see the like again.
Right. And that at that price, yeah, maybe. That's still $23 on top of what you're paying for a regular cell account.
Right. Yeah.
So, yeah, but and here again, it all depends, I guess, on what your use case is and your level of the need for convenience. Because over here I have my iPad, in my hand I have my iPhone. My iPhone is a hotspot. I can connect to it and and make it automatic if I want, and boom, I've got it. So there are definitely use cases. I just don't feel like spending the extra money, and especially since I don't have a grandfathered plan.
Well, I'm thinking more along the lines of, especially if you're a traveler. We just came back from Macstock about 2 weeks ago, and the Holiday Inn that they have that the Macstock conference is held in is a wonderful hotel, great venue, great food. The services are fantastic. The Wi-Fi, not so much, especially when there's a lot of different people that are trying to all use it at the same time. So having, and yeah, if you really need it, you can go ahead and use your phone as a hotspot, or if you have a grandfathered iPad plan, you could use that as well. But if it was already built into your Mac and wasn't like a huge expense every single month, and you really needed something like that, I think that's like one of the few things that is in this story that I wouldn't mind having.
Yeah, I could absolutely see it. Again, based on my personal yardstick, it's the price that would make it prohibitive, especially when I have a very easy to implement option right beside
like a hotspot, right?
Yeah, and my iPhone is. So, does it make sense for me just to maybe up my iPhone's plan to have more data and then use the connection? So the thing to me is going to really be interesting is how the carriers respond to this. Whether they're going to see it as a way to milk you for more, or whether they're going to try to find a way to pull you in, maybe even lock you into a contract for a favorable number.
Well, we all
Like
know
you.
that the cellular carriers have our best interests in heart.
Oh yeah, no question.
They're just saints. That's just how
Yeah.
the cellular service. I'm sorry. I can't continue with that
Yeah.
whole line. Sometimes I say things that are just so ridiculous that even I can't continue with them. What do you think about an OLED screen?
You know, great. I mean, again, I have not read up enough on it to really have an opinion regarding power consumption. But
Right.
if it delivers a better picture, a brighter picture, yeah, great. Especially for those situations where you want to use your laptop outdoors,
Right. Well,
because
and
that's
not only that, but the screens that we currently have are pretty darn good,
oh yeah, absolutely,
especially for the
absolutely,
pros.
yeah. Now I haven't taken it out like to the Mojave Desert or something where the sun is blinding, but it does seem like we're always chasing brighter. So,
Yes.
you know,
Yeah.
the big thing, the big one though for me is the touch enabled Mac OS.
Right.
And it's like, okay, fine. As long as you don't require me to use it, because my iPad is already, fingerprint city. So
Right.
I don't need that on my Mac. The only
Well,
concern I have is
yeah.
that if and you kind of said it at the bottom, no touchscreen enabled apps, and what about every other Mac laptop and desktop? And that's where the problem is, because this has the makings potentially of another touch bar.
That's
That
what
was
I was
great
going to bring up.
technology.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was great. I loved it, but it was only on my MacBook Pro. And so why would the number of developers that adopted it was minimal.
Yeah, and well, because it wasn't available on anything but a couple of MacBook Pros. If it had also been on MacBook Airs and MacBooks, and if Apple had released at a reasonable price um, keyboards that also had it built in for your Mac, okay, well, then there may have been more of an incentive for developers to include that kind of functionality. But I think once the novelty of it was over, that they were just like, okay, well, Joe Blow developer over there tried to use it and didn't get any extra sales out of it. So why should I bother?
Yeah, even if Apple had released an external keyboard with it, I don't know, at a less than reasonable price or unreasonable price,
Yeah.
I think it would have had a better shot. But as it was only one very small subset of the models, and again, it was great because it took me a little while to get used to it, but then I became a fan, and I was sorry to see it go. It
Yeah.
wasn't
I actually never
irreplaceable,
had one.
but
I never had one, a MacBook Pro
yeah,
that had that.
yeah, yeah. So if you were in the wrong place in the cycle, yeah, you never even got to experience it because it was gone too fast.
Yep. And whatever shortcuts or addendum that they put in to make it a wonderful experience if you had a 14 or 16-inch MacBook Pro was completely lost on everybody else.
Yeah.
So, and that sounds to me like that would kind of fall into the same thing. If you had a touch enabled MacBook or MacBook Pro, how would I use it? And if I don't have the latest MacBook Pro, I mean, I'm actually thinking, because I've got an M1 MacBook Pro, and it's fine, it's working great for all the stuff that I use it for, recording audio and video and doing podcasts and all the rest of that. As a matter of fact, I don't know if you can see behind me there, I've now got set up a Studio B.
Mm.
Oh, let me hit the space bar. Studio B right there. There's a microphone, there's a camera, and audio interface, all of the stuff I need if I want to have all of this as a background. Because I mean, I look at your background, and unless you all go over to the Tubes of You and subscribe to the Vert Shark channel and watch this, you won't see Chuck's background. He has got, it's either 2 or 3 large monitors. I can see a Stream Deck. There's 2 white audio monitors, lights, all kinds of stuff. And it looks great. And so I was thinking, well, I could have something like that. I've got enough gear to set that up. So
Yeah, listen, and by the way, there are 4 over there right now.
of course there are.
Not counting the laptop, by the way. So
Oh, okay.
yeah.
And
Just
what machine is that connected to?
That's the M4 MacBook Pro.
Okay. You know what? You and I should at some point do a podcast about our recording and streaming setups. I think that would be fascinating. At least it would be fascinating for me. I don't know about anybody else, but I love talking about gear. Shocker.
Yeah. And just again, for the record, the white speakers are the audio engines that I dearly love.
Yeah, I got JBLs. I think
Another
they're
great
not 8
choice.
inches. They're 5-inch with a pretty good sized tweeter on the top of it. All right, but that's all I have for Gaza Snippets.
Last flash from Gaza Snippets. Apple News on the brain. Scroll it, swipe it. That's a segment. Now we're jumping off the train. One more ping, then silence. Hit the logo, fade to black. Got signed up on Apple headlines. Till the next drop brings us back.
Hey, we're gonna move over to the main topic. Aren't you excited, Chuck? It is an adventure to do this show, even for me, and I've been doing it for a long time.
I feel like when you're playing the music, I'm watching Dr. Johnny Fever, is what it looks like.
Big Howard Hessman fan, I gotta say.
Yeah.
The main topic this week is, and again, before we get started on this is rumored. And I don't normally like to talk about rumors, but we are really in the doldrums of tech news summer right now. There is not a whole lot going on. Everyone seems to be holding their breath for the September and going forward. The only thing that's happening right now that would bring out new products is the back to school stuff. But that's mostly like, well, if you buy this, then we'll throw in, some cheap earphones or something, that kind of thing. So, but I saw this yesterday, and it was like, because I'm always looking through the news cycles trying to find something to talk about. It was like, oh gosh, let's talk about processors again. Let's talk about this thing again. It's like, no, let's find something new. And I saw this and it was like, okay, it's a rumor. It's still a rumor, but it tests me and I shall have it. Chuck is a Star Trek fan, so he was going to get that reference. Speaking of which, Jeff GMen and I, we haven't done another one yet, but the last time I had him on the show, we started talking about Star Trek. And that led to like kind of an impromptu podcast that we ended up naming Warp Speed Weirdos. And there's only one episode, but since then I've made logos, I've made opening themes, I've made closing themes. I've got like all this stuff lined up, and now it's just a question of getting Jeff to sit down and, let's talk Star Trek. I guess there's really no reason why you and I couldn't also do something like that. Maybe I could do it with like rotating hosts, which is kind of what the GMen have turned into lately. And I am talking to Gaz tomorrow. So he's not coming back yet. He is still on the mend, but I am still really, really hoping that we're going to get Gaz back onto the show. And that's all I'm going to say about it, because it's really nobody else's business what's going on with Gaz, other than he is on the mend and he's doing well. All right.
And Gaz, please get better quick so he can stop bothering the rest of us and you can get back to shepherding him. Yeah.
Everybody else. Gaz calls himself he's my unpaid therapist. And I can't disagree with that.
You couldn't afford a better therapist than Gaz.
I could not. All right. Well, let's talk about this story. With prices rising across the board on Apple products, our ability to buy new ones may be hampered, especially for those who purchase on a more frequent basis. Some rumors claim that the former ways of spreading out payments through Apple Wallet are disappearing to be replaced by this new leasing program with payments for iPhones, watches, and iPads spread out over 24 months and new Macs for 36 months. This is supposed to be in partnership with a company called, it says Karma there, but it's like Kiarna, something like that, which is a well known buy now, pay later service. Existing programs like the iPhone upgrade program will no longer be accepting new signups, and I'm guessing will eventually be discontinued. None of these include Apple Care, which will need to be purchased separately. Now, no additional charges or interest accrued has been announced, and terms will include the ability to pay the lease off early, upgrade to a new device, or return the device at the end of the lease. And again, bear in mind, these are rumors and not confirmed by Apple. Though they're saying that this is going to be announced on Tuesday, which will be the day before this show comes out. So well, I guess we'll see. By the time this show comes out, you'll be going, "Oh, guy is full of crap." It's like, well, okay, can't deny that. Uh, is this something that, I mean, were you on the iPhone upgrade program?
I was until last year. And I stopped for two reasons. First of all, I'd had a little bit of difficulty actually placing the order and getting it done. And I just decided to go ahead. But also, I'd been leaning against separating it because this particular year felt like it might be a good year to hold on to my current phone and just own it. And
What
then
do you currently
just
have?
17 Pro Max.
Okay.
So it felt like a good time with the capabilities of that, and it's the judgment kind of paid off a little bit because that one will still be able to run Apple Intelligence at, I guess, at full bore, or with no compromises, at least not yet.
Yeah, on machine.
So yeah, on device. So
on device,
that's one reason I decided. Those are the two reasons I decided not to just get out of the program. But up to that point, I'd been using it, and it was flawless, and it was great because every year you get a new iPhone, and you'd get 30 days to test it out, and then send your old one in, and it was terrific. Now that's not the option anymore. So now you're going to have to look at some of these other options, or do a kind of a roll your own.
I'm currently rocking a iPhone Pro 16 or iPhone 16 Pro, the regular one, not the Max. And I got to tell you, it's still a great phone. I'm not having any issues with it. I am because, I'm an idiot. I went ahead and put the beta on it. And other than some early issues with Waze, which was doubly unfortunate because I was in Florida and relying on it to get home, I haven't really had any problems with the developer betas for iOS 27. Now, I haven't really put the pedal down for S-Lady AI yet, which is in the latest developer beta. I don't know if you've tried it yet, or it's kind of like, how much are they really going to put into it before the next phones are released to try to entice people to go ahead and get a new phone? And based on some, I know, again, off topic, shocker, tangent, going this way now. Some of the things I'm hearing is they may not release the entire iPhone line when September rolls around. It may be just the Pro models, or maybe it'll be just the low end models. The whole thing just sounds kind of silly. If they want to break up how they release iPhones, then why not just announce it ahead of time? You know, what difference does it really make if you want to, especially with part shortages, the way that they are right now? It would be understandable if they only wanted to release the low end phones, or if they only wanted to release the high end phones and then wait until the spring for the reverse to happen. And of course, that also gives them the advantage of having, you know, two big income jumps at least twice a year. Because, I mean, let's face it, the iPhone is the golden egg for Apple right now. That's, you know, that's the device that's making them the most money, followed very quickly, and I never thought I would say this, by services. And then it's Macs, and then it's, you know, everything else going down the line. And the Macs have become, you know, third or fourth place at this point. But with a program like this to spread out the cost, you know, I gotta wonder, depending on what device you get. Say I want to get a M5 Pro Mac Mini to replace the M4 Pro Mac Mini that I have, or I want to get a M5 MacBook Air to replace my M1 MacBook Pro, which is something I'm seriously thinking about doing. After 36 months, I can just take the machine and turn it in, or get a new one, you know, with another 36 months of payment. But what would be my payoff for that machine at the end of the lease? And these are all questions that really at this point can't be answered, because there's no way to know. You can, you know, once the program comes out, assuming that it does, you can kind of guesstimate what your costs are going to be for whatever device it is that you're going to get through a program like this. And then also figure out what your final payment is going to be if you want to keep it. But without knowing more specifics beyond the little bit that I was able to find, there's really no way to tell at this point. Though if you take the cost of an iPhone, and, you know, regardless of which one you get, say you get an 18 Pro Max 256, which is probably going to be in the $1,500 to $1,600 range, spread that out over 24 payments, and it's not that much. Same thing with the Macs, unless you get like a totally tricked out studio.
Okay, so yes, I agree with you, and I think that might be, especially the way the economy is, the situation we have with um, the supply chains and all
Yeah.
that, and the uncertainty for pricing, that it would make a lot of sense from a consumer standpoint to say, okay, if you can give me, you know, a decent deal that will get me in now, instead of me having to plunk down $1,500, $1,800, you know, out of pocket, if I can spread it out over time with no interest. Now that's not a little footnote there, you know. So will there be interest? The second big footnote is, what kind of penalties if I intentionally or inadvertently miss a payment? Because then do the interest rates shoot up to, you know, 25, 35%, like some less reputable credit cards? So yeah, you're right. I think we need to really do a lot of analysis when this comes out. The one thing that I've heard, contrary to what you just said, Guy, though, is that you could spread the payments out, and I would end up owning the phone at the end of the payment period. Now, what I'm not clear on is that just, am I just spreading out the payments, or is that considered a lease?
It's a lease, and that's what had me kind of confused. If they're bringing in a third party company to manage something like this, because it's a big deal and you would require a lot of personnel to deal with a program like this, well, companies don't do that for free, you know, and it would be that company's money that would be good, because Apple doesn't care. They get paid up front. It's like, oh, okay, you want an iPhone 18 Pro 256? Well, that's going to be $1,700. And the company goes, okay, there you go. And then over time, they get their money back from the person that's buying it. But of course, there has to be something in it for the company, or why bother? You know what I mean? So there's really nothing here about interest rates or additional charges, or as you were talking about, penalties if you miss a payment or whatever. You know, if you're leasing a car and you miss a payment, yeah, there's going to be consequences for that. Now, you miss one payment, they're not going to just come and take the car, at least not with a reputable company. But yeah, you're going to have to end up paying extra money for the inconvenience of the company having to suddenly do all this extra work because you didn't pay for it for 1 month. And I can't imagine that if this is a lease program, that it'll be all that much different.
No, and I don't know if you've seen it or not, but there have been some just articles out there saying there's code in the new iOS that looks like it could potentially restrict the iPhone usage if a payment is missed. If
Oh,
you're in,
no,
if
I hadn't heard that.
if you're enrolled in the program and if you miss a payment, but again,
They
we
can
don't know
break
any of
your
the terms.
phone.
Does that mean if I miss the Monday payment, does my phone, get reduced to 911 calls only on Wednesday? Or do I get a warrant? There's so many things here that we don't know. One of the things I wanted to bring up though about the whole process of thinking about it is if we really are going to see an iPhone fold, it's probably going to be even higher priced.
Oh, sure.
And
Sure.
and so
Well
this
over
might
2K.
Yeah, and so this might encourage people to give it a shot or to adopt the fold because again, that initial outlay won't be 2K plus or whatever it's going to be. So this is an interesting time to have all these machinations going on.
At
Um,
the same time. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. So yeah, but at the risk of sounding like your old uncle or something, please read the terms, folks.
Yes.
Please don't be like the Bitcoin miners at the beginning of this show that trusted somebody. Ask a lot of questions, do your math, make sure you know what you're agreeing to.
Do your due diligence.
Yeah.
Yeah. I am at this point, because I've had some extra expenses, so I've had to do some money juggling to handle those. And as I deal with those, and it was one of the reasons why I didn't have a new MacBook Air when I went to Macstock, is it was like, okay, I've got these other expenses I got to deal with first. Don't put yourself in serious debt just to have the latest and the greatest giga that's currently available. Chances are your phone is fine that you currently have. Chances are the Mac, the desktop Mac or laptop Mac or whatever it is that you're using is just fine. Just use it a little while longer. Especially with interest rates climbing the way that they are, you don't want to get stuck behind the 8 ball and having to just make minimal payments because you can't go above that, because that's a trap that can be really, really hard to get out of.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow, me giving financial advice. That's the scary part of this show right here.
Yes, there will be a disclaimer scrolling on the screen later.
Remember, Guy said that.
Yeah.
It's not necessarily a good idea to follow any advice that Guy gives you.
Yeah. But, one other thing too that you may want to look at is a refurbished machine.
Yeah.
That if you're rocking an Intel Mac right now, I'm sorry, you're kind of behind the 8 ball.
Yeah.
But you could step up to an M1, an M2, or an M3 at a reduced price, sell off the Intel Mac now while it still has some value to be sold, and accept that as a differential. It'll be a new machine. It'll be a radically faster machine. No, it won't be the fastest, but it'll be faster, and it'll be you can get great deals from Apple refurbs. You can get great deals from Otherworld Computing, are the two that I think are the most reputable, and I would feel the best about, because I've bought a lot of refurbished machines from Apple. I bought a couple from OWC, and they're great. You wouldn't. once the box is gone, you wouldn't even know that it
Right.
is a refurbished machine. So, maybe don't necessarily look at just you have to have Apple's latest and greatest. And as an Apple stockholder, I'm cutting my own throat. But
Yeah, you're
at the
doing
same
okay,
time,
Chuck. Okay, you're doing all right. You're
yeah,
doing all right
yeah,
with that stock.
yeah. But look at all the options, and most of all, figure out what you need. And I sound like I'm preaching, and maybe I am, but I just see people that they buy things just to be able to say, I got the latest and greatest. And okay, so what are you doing
Yeah.
with it? Well, yeah, but I got the latest. That no,
Yeah. They
sorry.
get a 16-inch MacBook Pro with 48 gigs of RAM and a 2 terabyte hard drive, and they're surfing the web. It's like,
Yeah,
why didn't you just buy a Neo?
yeah.
That's
Amen, amen.
I got into a discussion with somebody over on Threads that was talking crap about the Neo. He says, why would anybody want to buy that? And they claimed that they were a longtime Apple user. And it's like, dude, it's the perfect machine for someone just going to college. As long as if they're not there for an engineering degree or having to, record massive amounts of audio or video, it's a perfect machine. It's got a good screen. It's not the best and greatest screen, but it's got a good screen. It's got a good keyboard. It's a solid base with, being built out of aluminum. The only thing that kind of makes people go is the fact that it has 8 gigs of RAM. Okay, but I think between you and me and all of the other people that are in our podcasting group, some of which have Neos and have tested it using DaVinci and Final Cut Pro, and all of these really, really uh, what's the word?
Power
CPU
hungry,
CPU in not invasive,
intensive.
intensive applications, and it holds its own. Is it as fast as an M5 Extreme? No, but it's not trying to be. It's a basic, down to the ground little computer that will do everything that 90% of college students need to do and will survive the experience on top of it.
Sure.
For not
Everybody wants
much
a
money.
Corvette. Yeah,
Sure.
everybody wants a Corvette, but how many people really A, can afford it, B, are really going to nobody's really putting it to the use that that the car can do,
Yeah.
because there's this little thing called the speed limit. But yeah, I'm with you, guy. And the other market too is for, with no disrespect intended here at all, but senior Mac users
Sure.
who maybe would find an iPad as just a little too limiting. They want a Mac, but they don't need something super powerful. And if they do, they know who they are. They know that they're photography people, video people, and they recognize that the Neo's not for them.
And they can connect an external monitor to it if they want to use it as a
Yes,
desktop machine. In
absolutely.
my case, it wouldn't have worked because I need a bigger screen. I need more resolution on a bigger screen for my issues. Oh! Speaking of which, I don't know if I talked about this last week on the MacStock show that I did. I was telling someone about when you were going to give your talk that you stopped by where I was sitting to ask if I would take the monitor and kind of show it around. And I was like, yeah, sure, that's not a problem. And at some point from, after because you were talking about ways to kind of expand your desktop and, different things that you could use on the go that would give you more capability. And one of them was this 15-inch little external monitor. And it's, it weighs like nothing. But from the time I got up from my seat and got to the stage where you handed it to me, this thought came into my head. Let's pretend like it's really heavy and that I just fell down on the stage. That led to a huge storm of people wondering, is Guy okay? I was fine. It was a pratfall. I was just kidding. But as I'm passing it around, I had people going, are you all right? are you okay? Did something happen? It's like, no, it was just something funny that I thought was going to go over well. And for a lot of people, it did not. But it was funny in my head, which
Yeah.
I guess is the thing that always leads to trouble.
Well, and the other, okay, so from the other side of it, I had people
Yeah.
coming up to me afterwards and saying, "You seem very unconcerned. A guy had hurt himself." And it's like, gee, you heartless, you know what? And it's like, no, it's
Like,
come
don't
on.
you know Guy by now?
Yeah, exactly. But then, so you have to have, in my opinion, the best part, because then when you passed the monitor around, you brought it back to me, you did sort of a second semi-pratfall, but not as intense, and end up laying on the stage on your back, and you just, while you're on your back, just like with your last dying breath, you held the monitor back up so I could take it. And I reached out. I didn't give you a second look. I just took it and kept right on going. And
Yes.
again,
Perfect.
Chuck, you heartless. You know what? It's like, no,
you know, good
it's a whole,
so and so.
yeah, it's a whole shtick. Come on.
Come on. Unless you see me, I mean, if I'm lying on the ground and going, oh God, please help me, then yes, please help me.
Yeah.
But if I'm just lying on the ground and flopping, I'm fine.
Yeah.
I'm really fine. I'm just doing something stupid to have fun. Oh, God, that was such a good Mac stock too.
Yeah.
There's only another 51 weeks before the next Mac stock. So start making your plans now, because it is such a good time. And I missed it the year, and I've said this so many times, I missed it the year before for various reasons. And when I say I missed it, I mean, I really, really missed it, because I missed out on seeing, all of my tech friends and all of my podcast friends and meeting new people that were just coming there for the first time. So keep an eye on, number one, on Mike Potter. And thank you, Mike, so very, very much for putting a conference like this together, which has just delighted people for 10 years now. And I am so grateful to Mike for doing this, because it's a lot of work, and it's a lot more work than I'm sure most people would be willing to do for something like this. So let's hope that he's able to keep doing it, and he still has the will to do so. We're gonna go ahead.
Yeah, he has announced, he did on stage, that there will be a Mac Stock 11. So
Perfect.
the specifics are not available yet, but I'm like, guys, start saving your pennies and marking your calendar.
Yep. And I will be there, and I will think of something else that's stupid to do. And
I'm looking forward to it.
Looking forward to the stupidity. Well, I would agree with that. Would you agree with that, Chuck? Got to nod your
Which
head.
part? Oh, yes. Okay. Because which part am I?
Very good.
Yeah. Well, okay.
Oh, that was not the one I wanted to hit.
Hit it. Gaz's tips.
Mostly.
Gaz's tips.
Mostly.
Gaz's tips.
It's time for
Gaz's tip.
Okay. Gaz's tip this week is, if your Mac is starting to feel sluggish, honestly, something simple like just restarting it may clear away some of the cruft left open after opening and closing so many apps. There's a lot of people that never, ever, ever, ever turn off their Macs unless, there's a power outage or there's an update. Well, maybe like once a month, just restart it, clear out some of the cruft, clear out, regain some of the memory from all the programs that grabbed some of it and they just wouldn't give it back. And that's a good way to do that. Would you agree with that, Chuck?
Absolutely.
There
Absolutely.
You go. There's not
it's
Hit it.
Yeah,
That's the end of Gaz's tips. That's the end of Gaz's tips. That's the end of Gaz's tips.
Is that the end of the tip?
Will you let me finish?
Gaz, you are absolutely right.
Okay, that's Gaz's tip for this week. I don't know if you have a for pick's sake, Chuck. I don't think I mentioned it when we were getting together for this, but I do have one. It's DaVinci Resolve. It's a free editor If you want something that's much more powerful than iMovie and less like certain apps I've recommended before that constantly nag you to go to a subscription model, CapCut, Adobe Premiere. So yeah, DaVinci Resolve is completely free, and it's got like, if you wanted to compare apps, it's a movie editor, it's got color correction, it's got a sound editor, it's got a program like Apple's Motion built into it. It's amazing software, and the fact that Blackmagic puts that out there for free and has for like what 10 plus years now. That's like amazing. Oh, so Chuck, do you have one you can recommend?
Yeah, actually, I was debating on two, so I'll just
You
pick
can
the
say
first
them
one that came
both.
to my mind. No, we'll save the other one for another time.
Okay.
But if you haven't, if you haven't experienced David Pogue's the Apple the first 50 years, you really need to. And this is sort of leveraging off Macstock, and that
Right.
David was there. He did, and I don't even know how to
Hysterical.
describe what he did.
It was
Yes,
amazing talk.
an amazing 3 hours, no
And it
exaggeration, no
included
breaks.
music.
Included music, and if you know David, you knew the music was coming.
Yep.
But okay, the book is phenomenal. I can't recommend the book highly enough. But you need also to purchase the audiobook version, because David doesn't just read the audiobook, he performs it. Okay, the whole book. And it's
And
like
plus,
I'm sorry.
plus there's parts in the audiobook that aren't in the regular book.
Yes. Yeah. And I mean, and if you've looked at the book, you'll notice that there are a lot of sidebars and things. David came up with an ingenious way of sort of blocking that content off from an audio standpoint, yet keeping the narrative going. He performed some of the music as part of the audiobook. There are some recordings in the audiobook that obviously you can't have a recording in a print book, but it's more
well,
the
you
just
could, but it would be a very odd book.
Yeah. But it is the closest thing you'll get to that 3-hour performance by David.
Yeah.
And it doesn't replace the experience of reading and looking at the book, but it's a great supplemental experience. And I would recommend investing in both to get the full benefit of what David has done, because this is just a phenomenal documentation of 50 years. There's stories in there you've already heard. There are a lot of stories you've never heard, I promise you. So
yeah, I'm trying to picture if he did have audio snippets in the book, where would you put the USB port to charge it? These are the things that go through my mind, Chuck.
yeah, and
I think
you're probably
about
the only
this.
person. You're probably the only person that would think about them.
Yeah. I would like to buy this book and a USB charger to go along with it. Okay. If you would like to support this show for whatever reason that you may have to support this show, you can go to coffeeko-fi.com/MacPettit. You can also PayPal through PayPal, paypal.me/MacPettit. We have one feedback this week, and because I did a dumb and didn't put it in Farrago, but I'm going to do that right now, and I'm just talking like this, so wasting time until I can get this accomplished. There we go. Wow, it's just like I know what I'm doing, Chuck. It's like that close to knowing what I'm doing. And this is from longtime friend of the show, NC Greg, to not be confused with NY Greg. This is NC Greg, the original Greg. And here's what he had to say.
It's the GMen podcast with Guy and Jazz. One knows diddly, the other knows squat.
That's true. Oh yeah. We love it here at the show when you send us feedback, and it doesn't have to be complimentary. You don't have to tell us we're the greatest thing since sliced bread, because we know we aren't, but we have a really, really good time and we love it when you guys send stuff like that in. You can say, if you're going to do like a bumper, and if you don't know what a bumper is, it's a little audio snippet that on the radio sometimes gets played either just before or just after a song or coming out of a commercial break or something like that. You can say whatever you want about us. We don't care. It's all good. Please try to keep it between 5 to 10 seconds. And if you must use naughty words, Marcus, that's fine. But they will be beeped before coming out onto the show. Chuck, if people wanted to get a hold of you and say, you've done this show before, so what made you think it was going to be any better when you came this time? How would they say that to you?
The best way to do it is to go to macvoices.com and use the contact sheet. That will assure you that your email gets through all my spam filters and gets to me. And then I can try to concoct an answer to that question.
It's a good question. It's
Yeah.
a really, really good question. Why, Chuck? Why?
Yeah.
If you would like to get a hold of me or Gaz, you can send us an email to gmenshow, GMENSHOW at iCloud.com. We have an account on both Twaxter and Skies of Blue, which is Guy and Gaz. Gaz is on Mastodon, and he's gazmaz at c.im, and which is why I don't really use Mastodon anymore. It's like, oh my God. And of course, he is also on Skies of Blue. If you'd like to get a hold of me, I am both MacPettit and VertShark over there on Twaxter, as well as Skies of Blue, the video channel, which will include everything that I do. For those that want something like that, go on over to the Tubes of You and look up VertShark, VertShark. We have a Google Voice number. We really, really do.
Guy has a Google Voice number. The G-Men wants your call. Call him now.
Yeah, and that telephone number is 703-828-4677. Outside of the U.S., make sure that you include the country code and then the number. And we can't be sure wherever it is that you are, but you may incur charges if you dial it direct. So the best thing to do is one of the other ways, do it through social media or through email or something like that. Even if you want to send us audio or video snippets, just do it that way. That's the best way to go. Some of the other stuff I do, there's Guy's Daily Drive when I was driving in my car to work and would record a short 10 to 15 minute podcast, because those are the kind of things that I do. But it's now mostly an archive because I'm now retired, going all the way back to 2018. The always mentioned Tales from the AI Verse, which is still just 2 episodes going on now for 10 years. No, it hasn't been that long, but it's been over a year since I put another one in there, but I keep talking about it anyway. I forgot to do this. If you didn't get the phone number, which is also right down here at the bottom of the screen, along with the email address that you can send information or whatever you want to send to us, there is a telephone number, and here it is.
703-828-4677.
That's right, Chuck. That number is 703-828-46. That's the number that you can call to get a hold of us, and we will play your comments on the show. Chuck, we're at the sad part of the show now where we have to go, and it brings a tear to my eye every single week. Just a little one that slowly trickles down my cheek. We are greatly, greatly appreciative of the fact that you took the time to download and listen to the G-Men show right here on the VertShark, whatever network. I don't even think I'm on a network anymore. I don't know what it is. VertShark over on the Tubes of You. But I think that, Chuck, this week we were good enough. Yep. And that this week, because you were here, we were smart enough. And that, yeah, well, there is me. Doggone it. Woof, woof, wolf, 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 wolf. people like us. Now, I got a couple of dad jokes here. You ready?
Oh boy.
Whether you're ready or not, here they come. I named my hard drive Titanic. It's sinking now. Why did the developer go broke? Because he used up all of his cash. Last one, I swear. Why was the USB-C cable so calm? It's reversible. No matter how you flip it, it still works. Say goodnight, Chuck.
Good night, Chuck.
And eventually I will have some kind of little video thing to close the show out. I haven't made one for this show. I've got one that I haven't used live yet with Warp Speed Weirdos, but I don't have one on the main show I've been doing since 2010.
Yeah. I think I saw the one. I think you shared it on our group.
Yes.
The Warp Speed Weirdos one. Yes.
Warp Speed Weirdos.
Yes.
I'm just picturing Jeff Gammon and I talking about Star Trek and how odd that might become.
Yeah, that's. Yeah, that's all I'm gonna say. Gotta leave it right there. Anything else I would say would be superfluous.
Oh,
man.
you know what? I lost my. God, I hope nobody commented. I don't think anybody did.
No, I was watching it. No.
Nope, it was
I don't know.
me. Just that one test comment that I did.
Yeah, and I didn't see. Well, I should say I didn't see it in YouTube, but I also didn't see it in the little bug up at the top. So just like us, looks like just like us. So
okay, well, I am going to. I'm going to hit finish on the show, and
okay.
Don't leave yet.
Okay.